Hey, Walk the Line listeners, welcome to another episode of the Walk the Line podcast. I'll be your host, Greg Sowers, and today for episode 43, we will be discussing, the reminders to make sure you're ready to go for the season. Start of the season is just around the corner. I know for our national program here, we're starting the week of August 12th, and high school picks up shortly after that in September. But if you haven't already been training, which you should be at this point in the game, now's the time to make sure your cardio's up. You know, you're hopefully you've been skating a few times. I'm not saying you have to skate every day, but I just want this podcast to be a reminder to make sure you're not the player at the start of the season who is last in a conditioning drill, um, isn't conditioned, period, and everyone's going to be rusty, but any way you can get ahead of the curve and make sure you're, maybe a couple of steps ahead of your teammates or your opponents at the start of the season, it's always going to be a good thing. So if you haven't started training already, um, you know, that's okay. You probably probably should have been, but there's still some time. You got about a month to go before the season kicks off, and don't wait till tomorrow to start. Go for a run, start doing sprints, stick handle in your garage. You don't need a rink to necessarily get in shape for hockey. Um, but, get in the gym, do whatever you need to do to start getting ready for the season. That way, when the season starts, you're not, sucking wind too much. And I think for, everybody at the start of the season, there's an element of, you're going to be tired, you're going to be a little bit rusty. But any way you can uh, deter those feelings by doing things before the season start is going to be a plus for you, a plus for your team. And it's very easy to see from a coach's perspective who put in the work during the summer months leading up to the season. For us in Nashville, the last time I saw a lot of my players skate was in tryouts back in May. Um, and so I hope, they took the time to improve throughout the summer. I have 13 and 14-year-olds, so they probably grew a little bit too, and that's an adjustment period as well, getting used to your body on the ice. Maybe your gloves don't fit the same, maybe your stick's too short now. So it's good to just try to work out all those kinks before the season actually starts. And again, coaches are different too. Some coaches will, the first couple practices, maybe they're just conditioning and you literally are, just working to get back in shape. Other coaches may start implementing some systems to get that out of the way. But you just want to make sure that you individually are not behind the curve, because obviously, tryouts are a first impression, but you get a second shot at another first impression when you're all on the ice together for the first time. Obviously, at tryouts, there's kids who didn't make the team, kids who made up or decided to go with another program. But that first practice is usually the first time you and your teammates for the rest of the year are on the ice together. And, you can set an example. You could also be, a player that's evident that didn't put in the work. So, again, it is not the end of the world if you haven't started training. But things you can do right now, a month or so away from the rink, I would recommend going for a run. If you don't want to run, start by going for a walk. Tomorrow, go for a run. Sprints, anything to mimic what you can do or what you're doing on the ice. Shifts are usually 45 seconds to a minute. Just sprinting 10, 15, 20 yards, taking a break in between those sprints and doing that 10 times, getting that cardiovascular endurance up, mimicking your shift lengths. Obviously, you could be doing quote unquote suicides, back and forth, trying to, get to a certain point and back a couple times in a set amount of time. I would also recommend stick handling in your garage. Get those hands going again. If you don't have, a board or something or a puck you can stick handle with, you can use a golf ball. There's really no excuse to start working on these things at this point. And I don't want anybody out there who's listening to be like, well, I haven't started, why would I start now? Because when you come in day one and everyone has been doing their things over the summer to get better and you haven't, that's going to be clearly evident. So make sure you take this remaining amount of time whenever your season starts, put in the work, be ready, and I hope everyone has a good start to their season. Obviously, we'll talk before then, but also if there's opportunities for ice, whether it's a stick and puck, whether it's a summer team. We're actually in Las Vegas right now for one of our last Nash Villains tournaments. Obviously it costs some money and it's different from being at home, but the kids here are playing at least 4 games this weekend, and by playing games you're getting in shape for the start of the season. um, just don't be the I'm gonna say it one more time, don't be the player who's sitting on their couch playing video games and is expecting to walk in on that first practice and be the best player on the ice. It's not how it works. Put in the effort and you'll see the results. So hope everybody's enjoying the rest of their summer, and we'll be back next week with an episode.